Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat for you. Elisha Covey. Elisha Covey.
Thank you, sir.
It's spelled Elisha, though, folks. E-L-I-S-H, Elisha, but pronounced Elisha. Elisha Covey. No relation to Stephen Covey.
Far distance on my husband's side, not mine.
Is there a relation?
Yeah, they're like seventh cousins or something. He gets asked this all the time, though. He's like, I've never met the man.
Yeah, well, he was a good man from what I hear. So, but you did catch the entrepreneurial spirit, even though you're not necessarily related, but you're an entrepreneur. You got multiple companies going, and you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time, sounded like.
I know, getting old.
So you went from bakeries to all kinds of shit. And now, accidentally, you start this really popular podcast. You guys might know her from The Girlfriends. So you're one of the girlfriends?
Well, the show is really for girlfriends. So
is
just
it just
women.
You?
I do it multiple ways. So sometimes I have sometimes I have my girlfriends co-host with me, and then sometimes it's just me.
But the podcast is called The Girlfriends.
Yeah.
And it's getting wildly popular amongst the ladies.
And the men.
Why the men?
Oddly enough. I think they like being flies on the wall. It's like, oh shit, this is what they talk about. And it's like, yep, that's what we talk about when y'all aren't around.
What do you talk about?
Anything men, money, mission, and everything in between.
Mission.
Yeah.
How many, like, based on percentages, how many women do you think have a mission in life?
I think we all do. I just think sometimes you might not understand what yours is.
Hey. Good one. She's a smarty pants too.
A smarty dress. I like dress.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good. But when I think of men or women, women and men, they're not the same.
No, I agree with you.
Most people won't say that because you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe that. What are you, a misogynist or a chauvinist?
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's just I know that we're different.
Yeah.
And we're different. That's all. So how many women are like, motivated with a mission? I know there's a bunch, but I mean, like in your mind, percentage wise, I'd say most women, they don't even care. Or no, most women are driven. They want to be out of the house. They don't want to be home taking care of the babies. How many women do you think are like driven?
I think that part of this is such a deep topic that you just took it to, and I don't know if you meant to or not, but here we go.
Well, why not?
Let's do it. I've got all the time in the world. So what I really think is that men have always had a very clear mission, right? Since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, you better fucking feed yourself at the very minimum. And then if you want to get laid, you better be able to feed a wife, right?
But let me interject. I would say those are instincts, not missions.
You think, really?
Yeah, well, we got to define.
Instinctual, sure, but that was their mission. And as we have evolved,
I gotcha.
Different missions come out, and men have always been, in my point of view, very groomed to have a mission. What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to, what are you going to do? How are you going to impact? What is your mission, right? And so I think you guys have really honed in on that skill of finding yours and being able to present it, being able to get on board and going for it. So where I think that sometimes women struggle, and I can only really speak from my own experience and then the stories my girlfriends have shared with me, is that we are watching you guys and you've very much been in the forefront and leaders. And so we see you saying these things. This is your mission. This is how you do it. And then we try to copy you. But like you hit on earlier, we're different than you guys. And so finding our mission might come in a different way at a different time. We might have to be exposed to different things in order for us to find that mission. I don't feel like I actually found my mission until my mid-30s.
What's your mission?
To me, I have two. I want to connect with others, and I want to stay on the path of enlightenment. And everything is encompassed in that. Freedom, connection, my monetary goals are all encompassed in those two things. But it took me forever to really understand that if I can just stay on the path with those two things, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to connect with others and I'm going to bring light, right? Not everybody's going to love me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But really what's most important to me is that I connect.
Well, you are a lot of people's cup of tea.
Some people.
I mean, your social media is growing very rapidly. By the way, folks, if you guys want to follow her, at Elisha Covey, ELISHA Covey. Go follow her. A lot of people are following you now.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
All because they just started seeing the girlfriends.
Yeah. The girlfriends is just,
but you got to be saying some controversial shit or something.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about everything, men, money, mission, and everything in between.
Well, that's what triggered me to going down this road over here with like how many women are on a mission. Because when I think mission, if you were to say, like, for example, Brad, in your opinion, how many men are on a mission? Not enough.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's because most men that I see in the world, you know, that's why there's a 1% and a 99%. Mm-hmm. You know, most men, they don't have a mission. They need a mission. And when you said men, money, and missions, I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe women are a little smarter than men, which I do think they are, to where they all know and they do have a mission, whatever that mission may be, but they have one.
Yeah.
And that means they're more ambitious. They're more, you know, aggressive.
Maybe aggressive, and maybe sometimes they also do it in a more quiet, less flashy way. I'm not saying all of them.
Well, some of them can do it to where they're considered trifling ass hoes.
Yeah, you could. I guess you could. I guess you could take it that way too. But a lot of women, for instance, their mission is to raise a beautiful family, to support their husband, to have, mission. You know, yes, it's an amazing mission, and we have to have women that is their mission. And then maybe for another woman, their mission is to climb the corporate ladder, be a CEO, be a CFO,
which you've done that.
Yeah. Yes, corporate ladder, maybe. I mean, I did really well in sales, but as far as climbing corporate ladders, I don't think they'd put up with my shit. I'm an HR nightmare.
But you built companies.
My own. Yeah. Luckily.
Well, that makes you the CEO.
Oh yes. I'm sorry. I forgot. I was thinking that corporate ladder and I'm like, no, they would definitely not.
Now, name some of the companies just so that listeners have an understanding.
Oh, that we
bakeries.
Own? Yeah. So I had a bakery for 5 years, Labella Cupcakes. We had 3 locations, and I had a food truck, which was super fun. I got to be so creative. I have almost 150 cupcake flavors. It's just like where that came from, I don't know, but I was loving it. And then my husband and I opened a commercial waterproofing company, grew that from nothing to 135 employees, 8 figures every year.
Nice.
It was very interesting. I learned a shitload working 18 hours a day.
What do they do?
Waterproofing, which no one knows. Basically help the buildings breathe, keep the water out, keep the, you know, stuff that's supposed to be in. Boring, not sexy at all. Trust me.
Yeah, but it has to be done.
Does have to be done.
Apparently quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Yep. Has to, especially in Texas. So depending on where you live, you know, it's more or less necessary.
Waterproofing. Mm-hmm. So do people need to waterproof their house?
They do, but it's not like a big deal. Everybody kind of gets handled.
But who's your customer?
So if you're in waterproofing and you're in commercial, it would be, you know, general contractors. That's our client base.
And someone needs to waterproof their building.
They have to, every building. So like hospitals, high rises, McDonald's, all of them have to be waterproofed, and including apartments.
See, I didn't even ever hear about waterproofing.
No, because it's so unsexy. It's just like, just get it done.
When you build a house, is it waterproofed?
It should be. If it's a good quality house, it will be.
But I would bet that's just one of the things that's on a contractor's list.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very different, like the requirements between obviously what waterproofing is for a house versus, you know, a high rise. They're very different requirements.
Now, is that what your husband did, or is that what you guys just decided to do together?
So he had been in construction his whole life, just loves it. And what we were both looking for was what was the lowest barrier to entry. You know, how could we get in with nothing? Because we didn't have any, neither of us came from anything. And I did have the bakeries, but wasn't making a ton of money there. I was making a shitload of cupcakes, but not a shitload of money. So it was like, okay, what can we do to combine his skills, my skills, and really use both of those to their full advantage, and where the barrier to entry is knowledge.
Right. Well, here, let me ask you a question about the cupcakes, because you were making a shitload of cupcakes, but not a shitload of money.
That's how it went.
Well, were you pricing them wrong?
No, I don't think they were priced wrong. I think they were fair market value, if you will. But I think that the market was a little bit saturated. And then also, like, how many cupcakes can you buy? So
well, I don't know, but usually, generally, when you sell a shitload of anything, even if you're making a little bit, you're making a lot.
You would hope so. I think that maybe looking back, if I had to change things, I wouldn't have gotten such a big location to begin with. Because in food, there's not a high percentage. Like, you spend most of it.
So what if you'd have said they're now double the price?
Oh, the price? Yeah. I don't know. It still wouldn't have been enough to keep me there. Like,
But still, I know, but most people, like you said, fair market value, which I wrote down, because that means that what you're saying is, well, I can only charge so much. They're cupcakes.
Yeah.
But they're
maybe
your cupcakes. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
So when someone says, why the hell are these $30 a dozen? You say, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you.
Yeah.
And they're your cupcakes, $30 a pop. How much are a dozen cupcakes?
Pretty much 30, or at least last time I checked,
that's
about $30.
Fair market value.
Yeah, that's pretty average.
So they go for a couple bucks each. Mm-hmm. So again, theoretically, you could sell a dozen cupcakes for $50, but they'd have to be pretty special.
They would have to be pretty special.
Were you making special cupcakes or no? Just regular old cupcakes?
No, they were special as fuck. Like I imported our chocolate from Italy. Like everything was the best of the best. It was fabulous.
Did you have a recipe from somebody?
No, I've loved baking since I was a child. And so I'd always had recipes that I was clipping and editing and working on. And so what I did was I came up with a base recipe for chocolate and vanilla that was perfection in, of course, my eyes. And then anytime I would go out and have drinks or have a dessert somewhere or experience something that I enjoyed, the challenge was to come back and make it into a cupcake. And so that's how I ended up with 150 flavors, because I would just go out and then I would be like, I can do that, and turn everything into a cupcake.
So like if you went and had pancakes that were great
with bacon,
you'd go back and try to make pancakes.
I have a maple bacon pancake for that reason. Yes. It's just like, this is the best breakfast. Let me make it into a cupcake. Also, we have like a cherry limeade cupcake, because those were my favorite drinks when I was a teenager from Sonic. And so stuff like that.
So you shut those down, or are they still going?
No, I closed them. I moved from Fort Worth to Dallas, and
because now you're in real estate,
land development.
You got frickin' waterproofing organizations. You're like a regular normal CEO.
Normal. I was just kidding. I'm not normal at all, but yes.
Well, that's impressive. I like that.
Thank you.
Now, out of curiosity, if you go back, let's say, to when you were 16 years old, where were you?
Like as a person?
No, like where? In the continental United States?
Yeah, in Fort Worth.
Okay, you're in Fort Worth, Texas, 16 years old, obviously going to high school. What's going through your head?
No, I'd already graduated. I was in college.
16?
Yeah.
Damn. So you're a smarty pants. I told you.
Just a little.
So you're already in college? Okay, good. Well, I was about to say in high school. So what was on your mind? College, no college? So yes, you graduated high school at what age?
16.
So right when you graduated high school, you went on to college. What college did you go to?
I just went to Tarrant County College, like a county.
But you were attending full-blown college schedule?
Yep.
Okay. And what was it in your mind? Were you planning to be a businesswoman? Were you planning to, be a teacher? What were you planning?
Yeah, no, not a teacher. I don't have the patience. I think that in my mind, I didn't think big enough. I didn't understand that like actually the whole world was my option. And I didn't really even know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I just knew that I was a devoted person, and that if I wanted something, I would go get it and make it happen. I moved out on my own at 16 too. I had my own apartment. I had my own place. I was working 50 hours a week and taking 18 hours of school. So I knew that anything I put my mind to, I could make happen, but I wasn't quite sure what direction I was going to go with it. That didn't happen for a long time.
And that's what I was going to ask. So kind of like, I want to build the path up to now. All of a sudden, you're a multi-business entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And
how'd it happen?
And now all of a sudden, you got a podcast that everyone's gushing over.
Maybe my life is like that now that you say it that way. I'm like, but I think what people don't see is that I'm a workhorse behind it. So it's like the things don't just magically happen, but once it gets in my head, nothing will stop me. And so...
You mean they don't magically happen?
I know, it's crazy. I just like, this would be a great idea. I manifested it. When I woke up, it was here. I mean, I did manifest it, but it wasn't like that.
Do you believe in manifestation?
I most definitely do, but I believe that that's coupled with work.
It has to be, doesn't it?
That's the only way to manifest it.
So tell me about the podcast. It's you and your girls talking about men, money, and mission. What about men?
Everything. We talk about everything about you guys. Mostly what things you do right and what things you do wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
But do you?
We do. Well, we do talk about those things.
Because you said you got a lot of guy listeners because they're trying to hear the fly on the wall type of shit. What are you guys saying? Like,
what are we saying? What are we talking about? I think.
Are you describing how to get, more sex, how how to like get along with your wife better. Are you talking to men, or are you just talking amongst your friends about men?
So when I do it with a co-host, then we haven't interviewed men. But when I do it with myself, I do interview men because I truly appreciate men. I've been very blessed in my life to have had many mentors that were men that took me under their wing and kind of showed me, hey, here's the ropes, or try this out, try that out. So I'm very grateful towards my relationship with men. And I think that sometimes we forget that we're really here to help each other. We get in competition with each other and we don't even realize it. And then we lose the parts that make us special and unique and really able to be a good team together. And so, yeah, sometimes we talk about the shit that men do that's annoying. Sometimes we talk about sex and, crazy ass like gags and all sorts of shit. So yeah, we did talk about titty fucking one time and I forgot about that. And then the thing got posted and I was like, oh my God, I hope my dad doesn't see this. Too late.
See, what episode was that?
I know. I think it was
now I want to go listen to that episode.
I think it was episode 9. I don't remember. I was so embarrassed.
Episode 9, folks.
Yep. For all the guys out there.
Everyone right now is Googling The Girlfriends, episode 9.
Titty fucking. Just put that in.
Well, so
bad.
It's obviously not a clean rated show.
It's definitely clean. We just talk about real life.
Yeah, but do you have to list it as explicit?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is listed as explicit because we'll say fuck now and again.
Yeah.
And like, that's lame. That's not necessary. But I want to make sure no one that doesn't want to hear that word knows. Yeah. So I put it as explicit.
Yeah.
I know someone that put it as clean, even though it was explicit, and they made them change it anyway.
Oh.
So good thing you're telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what good does it do to cover up that's just who I am.
How long have you been doing that?
The podcast?
Yeah.
We started in June.
And it's already getting wildly popular.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a bunch of listeners here. They're called the Bomb Squad. What do you call your listeners?
Ooh. I mean, to me, I just refer to them as the girlfriends. It's always just, they're my girlfriends too. If you're listening, you're my girlfriends. But if there's guys listening, then they're not my girlfriend. I guess they're my guy friend. You've now been put into my guy friend category.
How about your listeners could just be your friends?
Yeah, we could just go that way. But it is
all
called
the friends.
Girlfriends.
The girlfriends are the ones in the studio.
Yeah, but
I want to get on your show as the man.
You do? And what are you going to show?
But I want all your girlfriends to grill me and drill me on
everything.
Man shit.
Okay. We could do that.
Because I always wonder, like, what do women really appreciate in men, right? To where you can go to another man and like get him more likely to find a quality girl.
So what do we appreciate? How could we help men be better versions of themselves to get higher quality girls? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I think actually the one tip that I would give men, if I only had one, would be to educate yourself on women's cycles. So we all are on a 24-hour cycle. It's the same for you and I. Our body makes the same hormones in relation to that cycle. But we also have our 28-day cycle or, 32 or whatever it is for each woman. It's a little bit different. But I will say that once I fully understood my cycle and embraced it and used it as my superpower instead of resenting it and being like, well, there's a quarter of my fucking life I'm going to be uncomfortable and miserable and I don't want to deal with this and I wish I was a man. Once I learned to embrace it and love it, I was able to cultivate extreme, basically I feel like I 10x'd my life, and my husband was watching me and learning along the way. And I admire him so much because now he's like, oh, I can tell where you are and I know how you need me to love you. And it's not that he has to spend more time loving me or do bigger things or anything like that. He just adjusts a little bit to me and it makes me feel so cared for and loved.
Really?
Yeah. It's just like, holy shit. He might even notice that
Go ahead.
He might even notice that I'm in a different part of my cycle before I notice it.
Ding.
Yeah. And so to have a man because you guys are analytical, he can see it. He's like a little computer over there, data processing my ass. Like, what woman am I getting today? And I'm like, smart man. But he'll just adjust. I'm being cranky. I'm PMSing. And he'll shoot me a text and be like, I love you, crank. And I'm like, you're so fucking sweet. Because the first thing you told me is you love me. But in a kind, silly manner, you reminded me that, hey, it's PMS week. It's cool. I get it.
Is that what they call crank?
No, he calls me crank. That's his nickname for me when I'm PMSing.
You're just crank.
He's like crank.
Cranky.
Yeah, you're being crank. And I'm like, okay. Sorry.
Well, that's cute. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of new couples
crank
calling each other nickname crank.
Oh, well.
Because they can get a little cranky what you're saying is on the cycle. How do you get to know your girl's cycles?
There's a book by Elisha Covey called In the Flow. That book saved my life because my hormones, the stuff that we do to our bodies unknowingly, thinking that we're making the right choice because our doctor told us. I'm not saying anything negative about doctors. I'm just saying you need to research shit before you put it in your body. But I had a form of contraceptive that was inside of me that was literally killing me. And
what kind is it?
It's Esure. It's off the market now. I got yanked, class action lawsuits, but I never heard about it because I was too busy working. I just started to feel like I was dying and had 3 MRIs and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. My testosterone was at like 8. I'm a super healthy eater.
What should it be?
For a woman, it's usually like in between 100 and 200. So for a man, much, much more. But to be at an 8 is basically like operating almost dead. Yeah. Like you feel dead all the time. And
depressed.
I don't know if I usually have the tendency to
shriveled
get annoyed.
Testes.
Yeah. I was missing my nuts. I'm like, where are they? But that being said, that book really, it gave me all the information that I never learned in school that I should have. Like we're not educated about our own cycles. And so how could we even possibly expect you guys as men to accommodate us, right? I think most good men, they want to accommodate you. Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah, if they love you, I got roasted over this one, like good men don't have to be like to show love or whatever. And I'm just like, no, all I'm saying here is that a good man who loves his spouse, whether it's a woman or a man, cares to see them happy. I have never seen a man's face light up as much as Charles does when I'm happy. And it's shocking to me because at first I didn't believe it. I'm like, wait a second, you making me happy makes you that happy? It's shocking. But then the more good men that I meet, I see they're doing the same thing. They just want their spouse to be happy and they want to support them. And
it sounds like you're going to end up being a marriage counselor.
That's not what I mean to do, but
I
fucked one up.
There's a lot of people listening. They're like, damn, dude, I want this girl to coach me on my marriage.
Oh,
because everyone would ultimately want to be happy. And I would want my spouse to be happy.
Yeah.
The question is when they're not happy and you can't figure out why they're never happy, they'd call you.
They could.
Or they'd listen to the girlfriends.
Yeah, they could.
That'd be a good topic.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about that, I think there's just so many things. So you asked for my number one tip to men, it would be that.
Yeah, understand their cycle. But
cycle.
When I said, how do you do it? You said, read the book In the Flow.
Yeah, In the Flow.
Now, a guy needs to read that book?
Yeah, you can. There's so much knowledge in it. And if you're a man that is involved with women at all, if you have a mother, if you have an aunt, if you have a sister, if you have a wife, if you have a daughter, for you to have this knowledge will make you, it gives you a superpower to be their best friend.
Okay, quiz me based on
that book,
the knowledge. Let me see if I understand cycles.
Okay. Do women experience metabolism fluctuation during their cycle? Okay. When?
Usually when the polyunsaturated hydrocarbons flow through the medulla oblongata.
I love you.
Maybe in the first...
Dude, you're so smart. I had no idea you were going to pull that out of your ass.
Maybe in the first 2 hours of beginning their menstrual cycle.
No, but it's
preceding.
You were close.
Okay.
So the
answer is yes, though. I know that.
Yes.
When? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never tracked it.
The first, the week before their menstrual cycle and then on their cycle. Do you know how many calories they need more a day?
No.
In between 87 and 287.
Yeah, but that's just like a snack.
No, that's a huge spike. Most women eat like 1,500 calories a day. You're talking about a 20 to 30% increase.
Yeah, but it's just a snack.
That for you, it's just a snack, but you probably eat double what I eat.
What do you eat?
I mean,
when I have a hamburger and you have a hamburger, do I get a much bigger hamburger than you?
No, but I usually don't finish mine.
You don't?
Well, if you and I go to dinner together, and especially when I go with my husband, because I know his macros and I know what mine are, I will usually eat 2/3 of what he eats.
Really? Well, they're smaller. Women are usually smaller, but let's just say 1,500 is on average. Mm-hmm. So they need 87 more calories is what you're saying.
No, 87 to 287.
So they need to eat more.
Yes.
And do they know that though?
I didn't. So I competed in like bikini competitions and I would count my macros, right? Because your body is science. You can figure it all out. And so I knew how to get shredded. I got down to 10% body fat. And it's just like after I had 2 kids.
And for women, by the way, folks, that's like 4% body fat on men.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Women, 10% is low.
Yeah. Very low. And, but anyway, I did that and I understood it. But when I would be starving and so angry because I was hungry, I would literally tell myself, it's all in your head. It's all in your head. It's not real. This isn't real. And then after my period, I would be like, why don't I feel that way? And it's crazy that for 10 years, I told myself I was crazy, but my body was telling me you need more. And so when women can't lose that last 5 or 10 pounds of fat and they're always bitching about it, it's because those 2 weeks, their body goes into starvation mode because they won't eat extra. And then they like kick up their cardio. You shouldn't be doing any cardio or HIIT training in that time period because your body goes into like protection mode and it stores everything and it doesn't even allow you to burn the fat. So it's like, holy shit, if we understood how it really worked, we would all be where we want to be. But because we're not taught this in school. It's like, okay, you have a period, here's sex ed, use a condom, here's a banana, you got it? And then you're done. But it's like, we're so much more complicated than that.
Pretty deep. So how do I visually recognize that it's happening?
That what's happening?
Like my wife's cycle.
It's always happening.
I know, but
constantly.
Like if I read this book in the flow, am I going to be able to visually identify, okay, I need to feed her an extra meal today?
Well, you can if you track it. It's super easy. That's like as soon as she ends her period, start counting. And I mean, on our...
All right, let's go over the math.
It's 28 days usually, but you can check her.
I know, like when they're done bleeding.
Yeah.
What's it called?
So after it's actually, if you want to be totally accurate, the first day you start your bleed is day 1. So that's actually the first part of your cycle. Yes. But a lot of people view it as the end.
So they say
day 1, your menstrual cycle.
They say, hey, I started my period.
Yes, I started my period.
Okay, good. So start day counting.
1. Yes.
Okay, what am I counting?
You'll just, so each section, if you will, can fluctuate per woman. But the way that I like to remember it, just to be easy, and I am not a doctor. This is not my book in the flow. I just read it and loved it and was just like, wow, my life got so much better after I implemented this stuff. The first half of your cycle, it's like you're ramping up. So once your period is over and then you get into the first half. Last? For every woman, it's different. Usually if you're healthy, like 3 to 5 days.
Okay. So half over is a couple days for some?
Oh, what do you mean? Half through your period?
Yeah.
Some women only have a day.
So how can you be halfway through it?
Halfway through. I mean, I guess that's half the day, but every woman's different.
How are we supposed to know as guys though?
You get to know your wife. And doesn't your wife tell you when she's done with her period?
No.
She just fucks you.
Or necessarily.
She's like, let's go.
Hey, or necessarily that she's starting it.
She tells you that she starts it?
No.
No? You don't know?
I don't, like, you could say, Brad, I'll give you $10 million if you can tell me when she starts it. I don't know. And I don't know the last time she did it or didn't do it.
Oh, yeah. That's because it's not a conversation between you two. But 100%. It's something that could bring you guys so much closer. So for my husband, like to make it easy, there are on our calendars that we share, every time I start my period, I just make sure that my assistant puts day 10 for when my next period is going to be. And so on the calendar, on his fucking calendar, it says it like, this is fucking PMS week, man. He doesn't have to guess. Just when he opens his calendar and his assistant's reading off his dates,
how does he change his behavior? I want to know.
So I think during that time, women's hormones. So the first phase, your hormones are ramping up and you're basically like social lubricant. You know, when your wife is like this, walks into a party and everybody's like, God damn, and gets everyone's attention. They're glowing. They look beautiful. They want to connect with everyone.
And when is that?
That's the first part of like after your period for the first 2 weeks, usually about that amount of time. And that's when like you should be going on first dates. You should be going out and meeting people. You should be networking for work. You should be networking if you're looking for a spouse. You should be out doing those things because you're naturally in a heightened connectivity. So that stuff just happens naturally and it's very smooth. And then the latter half of your cycle is when, you know, your hormones change a lot and everything becomes introspective. So it's a great time for you to be like wrapping up projects, problem solving, really evaluating your life. Am I getting to where I want to be? How are things looking? And what happens is I think a lot of people misinterpret the change between the two. They're like, God damn, she's this way one way. And then the next week I see her and she's like all quiet and reserved and doesn't want to do anything. And it's like, yeah, that's because our hormones had a huge swing. We're basically 3D printing an organ every fucking month. Have you ever 3D printed an organ? I do it every month. And I'm like, my body's amazing. But we have to make conscious, thoughts to make sure that we're giving the person space for that. And so because their hormones are doing that, it's a great time for them to be introspective and make plans and changes for the future. And then once you get back into that phase where you're super happy and connective, that's when you go ahead and make those changes. Don't do them when you're on your period.
You're like an encyclopedia almost.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. That's not even my book. I'm just in love with it.
But you've got lots of valuable knowledge.
Oh, I hope so.
Normally, I was taught never to ask a woman how old she is, so I'm not going to ask you. But you're talking like you're older,
I'm 36.
Older than you look.
I'll tell you. I don't know.
So you've had some. So again, these are some of the things you've learned, life lessons.
I had to.
Yeah.
It's like some people are just really smart and they learn without going through shitloads of pain. I'm trying to be one of those people. Okay. That wasn't how it was the first 36 years.
Well, I'm 53 and I've never known to track menstrual cycles.
Well, there you go. You can start now.
I mean, I wouldn't even know. Maybe I'll go get in the flow.
You have seven kids, right?
7 kids, yeah.
Girls, how many?
5 girls, 2 boys.
See, can you think how much easier it would have been when they all lived with you if you knew? You'd just be like, boys.
Right now I live with all women.
See?
My boys are up and out.
Okay. So then you still do.
The 2 older girls are up and out. But now I got 3 little girls
at home. That's the
and
biggest.
The wife. And I don't know a cycle if I saw one.
But that is the biggest gift you could give them, Brad. Their bodies, we are not
What
taught
is the biggest gift?
To learn their cycles, to understand.
Well, they don't have cycles.
Not yet.
Ones.
They're little. Okay. Yeah. But they will. So
they will.
13, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Is that when it starts?
I got mine when I was 11.
Then I got one that's a couple of years away.
Yeah. But if you could teach them this gift, and instead of them feeling like, oh, great, I turned into a woman and I got all this shit I inherited. That's how most of the women that I know felt. It's like period was a chore we had to do, and it wasn't fair because the boys didn't have to deal with it and we had to deal with it. And
so In the Flow teaches you how to use that gift
as a superpower.
Huh. I'm going to get my wife that book then.
Yeah, I hope she loves it.
Well, she's already a superpower. Like she's just,
yeah.
That's why I said she's never really tells me whether she's on it or off of it. Like sometimes I find out, but she doesn't come up and she says, I'm starting my period today.
Oh.
And then I finished my period today.
I don't think I say it that way either, but I'm more like, we need to fuck now. And then I'm like, okay, now we can fuck again.
Now because it's starting?
Like it's over. The messy, like I've done it.
Right, now because it's going to start?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, come on. One more day to squeeze it in.
I got you. I got you. You guys talk about this on the podcast?
Yeah.
Now, how many of your girlfriends are usually on with you?
Usually if I have a co-host, I only have one. Then we interview women.
Do you videotape it too? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is it on YouTube?
Yeah, you can see it on YouTube. And then obviously on Instagram, that's where they're getting all of those videos.
Folks, that's why they're gaining so much popularity. It's not her cupcakes.
No.
It's her podcast where they're talking about female stuff.
Yeah.
Insider secrets. And again, it's not for the boys, but if the boys listen, they're
welcome to.
Well, they'll just get a little more educated about the female space.
But don't get mad about it.
And I would highly recommend guys out there looking to find quality girls. Dude, do your homework. Just like anything in business, if you're really wanting to excel in business, you have to become an expert at whatever you're doing. Like you need to be the best in the world at what you do. You need to be an expert. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying that about business and everyone agrees, well, yeah, of course. Okay. So now think when you're starting to look for a partner, a spouse, wouldn't you want to be an expert in them? Mm-hmm. An expert. So unless you're gay, like if you're gay, don't worry about it. But if you're not gay, you better figure out women because no one's ever told me, go understand their flow.
Mm-hmm. I know it sounds so sexy, doesn't it? But if you could maximize your relationship with your wife, your daughters, your sisters.
That'd be wonderful.
Right. And it doesn't mean you have to do anything more. It might just be like a change of tone or understanding like, oh, she's not crazy. I'm not like, is my wife going to come back? It's just the point in where her hormones are. Like I can be a little extra forgiving here, or holy cow, next week I know she's going to be off her period and she's going to be like so fucking hyped up and excited. Let's take her to Vegas, or let's go. That's when she's going to be the most fun, you know? But if you take her to Vegas right before her period starts, her hormones are literally trying to get her to look within.
I'm going to text her as soon as we're done and ask when it begins.
Yeah. Just be like, hey babe, I care.
I'm going to say, let me know when it starts again. And then that's when I'm counting.
Yes. And get that book. You'll love it.
So as soon as she says, okay, it started, why do you want to know? I'll be like, 1, 2, and then 2 weeks later, I can take her to Vegas.
No. Well, you're counting it right now. Now I've confused you. I'm sorry. But like after she stops bleeding, those first 2 weeks, perfect time to take her to Vegas.
Yeah, but see, we instinctually know as soon as they stop bleeding, that's the time to take them out.
Yeah.
We don't want to take them out when they're bleeding.
See? Well, because you're smart. Like inside, you already knew that's not a good idea.
Well, not only that, because mainly all dudes want to do is hump.
Yeah.
So if they're bleeding,
it's not only dudes that want to do it.
So they're bleeding. It's like, we'll wait till they're done.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're done. Hey, now it's time to go out.
Yep.
And when you say it's not only men who want to do it, obviously women, I agree 1,000%. They want to do it as much, sometimes maybe more.
I think so too.
Now, the question is what happens if there's a dude listening to this and their spouse doesn't
want to do it?
Yeah.
I think that's such a loaded question. There's so many answers. I mean, it could be something they're doing. It could be that they're doing something or not doing something that's necessary. But I think that like,
do you think it's true to say, oh, she's getting it somewhere? If she ain't getting it from you, she's getting it somewhere.
I mean, I think, for some women and for some men
but
too.
But not all women?
No, not all women.
There's no guarantee?
Yeah, I don't think there's a guarantee.
I want some guarantees.
Yeah, so does everybody. That's not fucking life, man. Actually, I do have a guarantee for you. You've been dying since you were born. There you go. The only one you have. You're dying since you were born and you're going to end up dead. I'm sorry.
I like the last one, but if there's an arc somewhere, like the second you're born, you're actually beginning to live.
Yeah.
You're not beginning to die.
Beginning to live this life, but I don't really know.
Yeah, but you're beginning to die at some point because if you had a crystal ball and you knew you were dying here, at some point, this is when you're beginning to die. It just took you 31 years to do it, but this is when you're beginning to live, and you live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you die. You're not born and then you start dying the day you're born, or you'd never live. But I get what you're saying, and I've heard people say that, and I always argue. Have you? Yeah, I've argued that since I've heard it.
Forever? Well, I liked it.
Yeah, because you're not dying. I get the whole thing, but you're not dying. You're living. And if you're doing it right, you're living big. Yeah. And that's what I want to get people. That's why I like people like you to come on here that have life experience from a different perspective, a female perspective.
Yeah.
But getting along with your spouse will flow into your business. It'll flow into your psyche. Like, it just makes life better. So I'm like, if you're married, number one, learn how to get along with the person you chose. Sometimes there's a little work involved. Go figure.
Yeah.
But most people don't know what. Like, again, I never would have guessed, check out her menstrual cycle or know what to do because of it. Like, I know when she's on the rag, of course I'm not going to do that. Of course I'm going to realize she's being bitchy because of that. But what are some techniques and things that most guys wouldn't know? Like, in other words, hey, a week before, give her strawberries and she'll think you're the sweetest guy on earth. Because if you really want to get laid when you get home, it starts the night before or the day of.
Yeah. I think it's
a text here and there.
Yeah. It's a continuation.
Helping with the dishes.
Yeah.
It's not just come home and it's like time for sex.
Yeah.
That would be a lame deal.
It kind of would.
And I'll bet you there's massive amounts of couples out there that are like that.
Yeah.
They fuck because it's time to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of sad. I'm like, oh, yeah.
And how many do you think are out there like that? I guarantee there's people right now thinking, the motherfucker's talking to me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there in that situation. What would you say to them? What would your girlfriend say if we were all talking on the girlfriend show?
We'd probably dive into why, get into more of the details. Is there an issue with y'all's connection, or is there a physical issue that's going on health wise? Is there something going on with your hormones, his hormones? I think there's so much to be said for making sure that we really take care of this body that we have. And I think a lot of us have not been educated in how to do that. So I think there's a big impact on your sex drive if you aren't taking care of yourself well, or you don't know how to. And especially as you age, I think that becomes a bigger piece. But
I could tell you, for example, if you're with a dude, you can write this down, take it to the bank. Anyone listening, no matter how many husbands get pissed that I said it, I'm saying it.
Oh boy.
If you, for example, if the wife wants to have sex and tries to initiate sex often to no avail, meaning your dude is not banging you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And it's been a long time. I guarantee you he's getting it somewhere else.
He's getting it or she's getting it.
No.
He's getting it somewhere else. So you're talking to the woman.
I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know. Yeah. All I know is I am a man, and I do know that if your dude doesn't want to fuck you or have sex with you, let's be nice.
Okay. Fucking can be nice, but okay.
And you try, and he's turning you down. In other words, he ain't banging you. You want to, but he don't want to.
Yeah.
I guarantee he's getting it somewhere else. Yeah. You're cruising for a divorce, or you're cruising for a breakup if you're not married. There is a problem if you and your dude ain't having sex, and it's on him, meaning he's the one not doing it.
Yeah.
He's getting it somewhere else. He just hasn't told you yet.
Yeah. He's either getting it somewhere else. I would agree with that. Or there's something physically going on that's not good.
Well, again, he might be able to not get a hard on and be embarrassed. So he avoids it, but you'd know that.
Yeah.
You'd know that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is next time, if you're with one of these dudes that aren't letting you have it, okay, when he gets home tonight, just walk in there naked and say,
fuck me now.
Period. Now, if they don't, or they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh,
and they try to make you feel bad about it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get off of me. What are you, gross? What are you, some sort of,
Do you think that happens?
I guarantee it happens. And I guarantee you, if that happens, it's because they're getting it somewhere else. So I'm trying to figure out, is that the same for a woman?
Oh, could be.
Because there's some women that they don't want to have sex with who they're with.
Oh yeah. I mean but that's both sexes.
I know, but why do they stay together?
I don't fucking know. I'm being divorced is not that bad.
I don't get it.
I think sometimes it's religion. Sometimes it's pride, ego, whatever. Fuck it. If it's not working, don't. My point of view, I'm not staying.
What's the alternative? Cheating.
Well,
to me, that's not an alternative.
Or being miserable. You can stay and
that's not an alternative.
I mean,
but cheating,
lots of people do
being
that.
miserable shouldn't even be an option.
No, because you only have one life.
I know, but cheating stops as soon as you say, hey, I'm going to go bang other people.
Oh yeah. It's a really easy fix.
Therefore you didn't cheat.
Exactly.
Now, if she says, fuck you, well, let's get a divorce then.
Yeah.
And I draw the line. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm off. You're off. Go ahead. Bang whoever you want. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's called broke up.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Legal or not is whether you're married or not.
Right.
But it's broke up.
Yeah.
So break up if you want to cheat.
Yeah.
And then as far as being miserable goes, if you're in the position where your girl's not giving you any, again, it may be your behavior, because women are different. It may be they don't want to do you because you're a turnoff. You're a whiner. You ain't making no damn money. Mm-hmm. You're a simp or a beta or a bitch type dude. You know what I mean? So sometimes we fall into those habits, and we forget that this is a female and she wants a man. And when you're with them 10 years and you start getting comfortable and you stop smacking her on her ass or reaching behind her in the kitchen and all the shit you used to do, then you just think, oh yeah, she don't want to give it up. No, you turn her off.
She's missing that. Yeah.
You turn her off.
Yeah.
She's not attracted to you anymore, even though she's married to you.
Yeah. But you can turn her back on.
Of course you can.
You can do it. It just takes a little bit of effort.
Well, it takes work.
Yeah.
Now, again, I have a buddy, Keith Yackey, if anyone's listening. He has a thing called Married Game.
Ooh.
He has a Mary Game podcast too.
Oh, okay.
Give him a little shout out. But he teaches guys how to get their women back.
Ooh, intriguing.
And apparently
it works.
Yeah. But what is he saying? He's saying, stop being a bitch. Stop nagging. Stop fucking being undecided and this and that. And like, he's got a whole list and he puts them in dials, and like guys just realize like, dude, I've been being a bitch and no wonder my girl didn't want me. And then they get fucking fired up. Then their sex is great from then on until he falls right back in that trap.
Oh,
if he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people just do. But when you said, are there people like that? Of course there's people like that.
Yeah.
I've heard friends of mine, you know, hey, my girl, she won't even freaking suck a dick.
You're like, really? Why?
Well, I always think she won't suck your dick.
Exactly. She'll suck someone's.
That's another thing that pisses people off. Like, dude, if you were the chick that she won't give you head and then she fucking goes out with some dude, first thing they do is give head. Why? Well, wash your balls, son, or something. Yeah. I don't know how we got onto this conversation, but it's a good one.
It is a good one.
Now, because people out there, listen, whether they're laughing or whether they're just offended, it's good information because people need to wake up.
Because it's real.
Well, if you're going to be in a relationship, be in a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. And who is responsible for it to be a good one? Well, it takes two. I agree it takes two, but it also takes one. Okay. Because one person that tolerates the other person, that's all it takes. Because if I say, I don't tolerate that shit, then it doesn't take two, it just takes one, because I'm not tolerating anything other than this.
Yeah.
So if you don't bring this, it's simple.
We're just not a match anymore.
It's real simple.
Yeah.
So I would, if I were people, draw a line in the sand and say, hey, from now on, this is what I'm going to allow, and this is what I'm not going to allow, and live by that. You might be broke up.
Yeah.
But I'll bet you'll be happier.
Yeah. If you're not with someone who's extraordinary, then don't fucking do it. It's better to be single your whole damn life than be married to the wrong person.
What if you're one of those dudes that think you're extraordinary, but you're not?
Well, maybe for someone he is, just not for me.
Is there any tests that us guys can do for our females to see if we're extraordinary? To them? Yeah, because, you know, like my wife, I started to get in shape. I'm starting to get in shape. I'm not far from six pack. She liked me when I was chunky and fat, or at least she made me feel like that. And she doesn't care if I'm getting in shape. She doesn't do anything different other than, you know, she calls me skinny sometimes when she's hugging me because she goes, you used to be big. Now you're like little. I'm like, little? She goes, well, you're not little, but like you're littler.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway.
You were asking if there was a way to like show the woman that you're extraordinary.
No, find out if the woman thinks you are. Because my wife, like,
if we think you are, you're going to fucking know, because we're going to be blowing your head up. Like, you'll know if we think you're extraordinary. It's easy to tell.
So if a girl's
Is she giving you head? She thinks you're extraordinary most of the time. It's like, yeah, if we think you're cool, you know it.
So if they're not giving you head?
That could be a problem. Like that would, if I were a dude, I'd be like, why isn't that happening? Like that's a problem if she doesn't want to do it.
Well, I know, but a lot of girls say, I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I didn't like doing it either until I met Charles.
And now you love doing it?
Fuck yeah. I'm like, his balls, I'm like, I fucking love your balls. And he's like, you are so weird. I'm like, I never liked any other guy's balls at all. It was like, okay, they're balls. And then his, I'm like, your balls are, and he's just like, you are so weird. And I'm like, I don't know. It must just be that I am so in love with you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That like.
So listen, guys, if your women don't love your balls.
That could be a thing.
You divorce them.
No, don't take, nobody said that.
Yeah, it means they don't love you.
Try to make your balls hotter.
Yeah, they ain't sucking your dick and they don't like your balls. They don't like you.
I really want to know.
That's what Elisha says.
I love how you blame that one on me. But what I really want to know is there science behind it? Because this is girlfriend shit. No, you don't know that, because my girlfriends.
There's no fact.
We haven't proved it, but other girlfriends of mine told me the same damn thing.
I know, but like some girls. Like when I say, why don't you like doing it? And they say, well, because my jaw hurts. I can't open my mouth that big.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm talking about balls. Oh. Liking the guy's balls.
Nobody cares about balls.
That's not true.
Balls are stupid.
See, you can't come to the girlfriend show if you'll argue with everything we say, because we're trying to explore. You think they're stupid. We think they're cool as fuck.
I've never heard a girl ever brag about the
guy's balls?
Somebody's nuts.
That's not true. Well, because you're not in the girlfriend show.
Okay, what in the girlfriend show? What do they talk about?
We talk about, like, we would have this conversation.
What would they say though? They want them big and hairy. What do they want them?
We're not.
Do they want a long? Preference. Hey, do they want a long bat wing sack?
Some of them knit little ball holders for you.
I know, but do you want big, long, saggy balls, big, nasty balls like ostrich eggs with sporadic hair coming off the sack?
No, that's preference. Each girl wants something different, I guess. I like the pair that I have. But what I'm saying is...
So you're just going to have to find a pair you like.
Find the pair you like. I mean, and keep shopping until you do.
Because if they got bad balls, they probably got bad everything.
I don't know. But I want to know if something, like, innately, you know, how we smell each other's pheromones. I want to know if there's something correlated to that, like that could be proven scientifically.
I would love to know.
I know, so do I. I'll have to find someone that can figure that out.
I just want to be able to read people better. Like, I want to be able to go home and, you know how you can read
that book will help you read women better.
But you know how you can read your
spouse,
wife or your spouse or whoever. If she's in a bad mood, I can feel it and I know it. But I know in other people, I can read micro expressions. Sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm like, you know what? And they're like, what?
I didn't say anything.
And I'm like, well, obviously.
Something's wrong.
And then they're like, I don't know why you'd say that. And it's clear in their face. But you can read people.
Yeah.
But what if there was a better way to read people?
Better than you've already honed your skill?
Yeah, like in other words, you can walk in the door. If your girl's not doing this, this, and this, you know this, this, and this.
Wouldn't we love that? Simplify a fucking life.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, no. That would take all the fun out of it.
Save time. Yeah. Walk home. Babe, you're out of here. Why? We already know.
Yeah, we already know. And the new bitch is arriving in 5 minutes.
Well, my wife's probably going to end up being one of your top podcast listeners.
Oh, I would love to meet her.
She'll be listening to The Girlfriend, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The Girlfriends. Where do they find that? Apple, Spotify, everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. YouTube too.
Huh. And you said I can be a guest. I want to be the guest that your panel of women use to ask questions. In other words, I'll just give you, because I am a man.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my answer. And then you guys see if it fits what women think.
What we think. Oh, that's a good one. I like it. Yeah. We need like you and maybe 2 other guys. So we have 3.
I'll bring Andrew Tate.
If you'll bring him, fuck yeah. We're done.
Dude, Andrew Tate's coming on Dropping Bombs here pretty soon. But like Andrew Tate would be a hell of a guest on that.
It would be hilarious.
So, because again, he's articulate and I would love to hear his opinion of, hey, you should go read a menstrual cycle book to get along with your wife better. What he would say about that.
I'm very curious.
Because dude, listen, like I would disagree if he said, oh, you know, I know he's trying to be funny and like, you know, screw them. But in reality, if you're with someone, it's in your best interest to make sure that they're as happy as can possibly be. Yeah. And if it means that you read a book on menstrual cycles where a man's man would say, oh, dude, you're a freaking simp for that. I wouldn't agree. No. I would agree you're smart for that.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even have known that if a girl didn't tell you to do it. So it's like an inside advantage.
Yeah. And especially if you have daughters. It's like, holy cow, you're the first man, not just get along better, but you're the first male relationship that they have. You're the most important. Every other man they're going to compare to you. So set the fucking standard high so that all those simp men, when she sees them, she's like, fuck you. You're not even close to my dad. Like, why the fuck would I give you any time of day? Yeah. Be that type of father so that she has an example of what the best man is.
So in order to be that type of father, I just need to know about her periods.
Well, that will help a shitload.
What's another one?
I think I love my dad. He's fucking amazing. But like, if I could have helped him, if I could go backwards and do that, I would have asked him to broaden my horizons, not let me see the world so small. Like, hey, there's a whole huge world out there and go explore it. Encourage exploration. Encourage finding yourself. Encourage making mistakes. Because that's how you learn and get back up. I think a lot of my childhood was about perfection.
Why is that? You say what's your nationality?
Half Persian and half, I don't know, Mutt.
Do you speak Persian?
Very, very little Farsi. My dad didn't really teach us much. So.
Well, then I'm sure you know Khoda Hafiz.
Yes, and merci.
Yeah. So is that why you think there was a perfection thing there? Because of the Middle Eastern?
No, I actually think it came from my mom's side. So I had, she's just like a mix, some German, some Indian, some just mix. But she had so many instabilities that as a child, I have a great desire to connect and please. And so I always thought, like, if I can be perfect, if I can make her coffee just right, if I can keep my little brothers and sisters in order, if we can keep the house clean, then mom's going to be okay. And so I think that that made me an overachiever, and that created who I am today. But it also gave me some areas where I would put myself last always, because if there was somebody else that needed something, or if I could make it easier or better for you, then that would be my priority. I was never the priority. And then what I realized later in my life is that you can't give from an empty cup, and you sure as fuck can't give something that you don't even know how to do for yourself. So as much as I said that I was loving, and as much as I said that I was giving, I could only give to the capacity that I would give to myself. Right.
Mm-hmm. Now you have a cookbook.
I do, or it's coming.
Well, when would someone be able to pick that up?
Hopefully, I'm wishing for Thanksgiving 2023. So.
Oh, way away.
Well, you know how publishers are. It takes forever.
You're just going to have to follow her then at Elisha. I don't know why I keep saying Elisha.
It's okay.
Elisha Covey. Follow her on Instagram so you know when her cookbook comes out.
Yeah, thank you.
Go download her podcast, The Girlfriends. What else? You got Facebook, you got a website, ElishaCovey.com.
I do. And you can follow TikTok, but it's all the same content.
You got a TikTok?
Yeah. I think it goes crazy. I'm just like, I'm now a cool mom. Like my son, I swear, he'll call me with his friends. Like he'll be out with his friends. I don't know what he's trying to do. Like prove that it is like.
You're a MILF.
I don't know about that, but I have 13 million views on something.
Any good looking mom if you have teenage sons and their friends.
Is that what they're doing?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what is he doing? It's so weird. I'm like, they're out playing paintball. Why am I getting a phone call?
When we used to be little, dude, any friend of ours that, had the hot mom or the cute mom, didn't even have to be hot. They just had to be cute. That was the MILF.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is already at that age. I don't know.
How old's your son?
13. Yeah, actually, he just turned 14. Holy shit.
You better have Charles go have a word with the young man. Well, it ain't him, obviously, but it's his friends.
Yeah, they're the ones.
Tell Charles, keep the friends out the house. No spending the night.
I don't like young boys.
Now, what's Charles do right now? All this?
Oh, yeah, we do it all together.
So you guys are partners?
Yeah, we are.
Partners and everything? Yeah. Everything sounds like you guys have a wonderful relationship.
How long have you been together? We've been through a shit show. So we've been married. We just hit 7 years, and together almost 12.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And it sounds like since you're so in love with his balls
will hopefully let me have them.
Yeah, nothing's ever going to break.
I don't know. I don't feel like predicting that is smart.
It's Charles's to lose, sounds like.
It would be both of ours.
Tell Charles to write a book so us guys know how to freaking get all the shit dialed in.
Okay.
Did he read In the Flow?
He kind of I would share portions with him. And especially whenever there were things that he would already do in it, like just out of his own analyzation of me. And I would be like, babe, look how smart you are. Like you already knew this shit. This is crazy. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming in.
I had so much fun with you.
Folks, go follow this girl at Elisha Covey, just like it was spelled, ElishaCovey.com. Go get her cookbook. Go subscribe to her podcast. Let her know you came from dropping bombs. Let her know you're the bomb squad, and as always, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lee. Subscribe now.